The Gathering Place Church is a movement of God through people who are passionate about knowing God and making God known. The Gathering Place began in 2010 when God placed a burden on the heart of the founding pastor, Matt Scott.
So the best way that I can describe it was frustration. I knew that the way that things currently were was not the way that God wanted them to be. So I saw brokenness all around me in the lives of people that were far from God. I saw apathy and discontentment in the lives of people that knew God. And God placed in my heart this holy discontentment or holy dissatisfaction for everything that I was seeing. But the funny thing about it was that God was placing the same sense of urgency on the hearts of other people that would soon join us.
We knew that there had to be more to church than we were currently experiencing. The vision that Pastor Matt laid out was so fresh and so life-giving and life-affirming. It enabled us to serve others and give life to others in a way that we never have before.
We felt God calling us to do something different, to step out in faith. We didn't know what that was going to be. We just knew that we needed to make a change. We were told to come to a meeting at Moody City Hall. We did come, and there were people there that we knew, but we wanted to find more about the church, and we were excited to be there and be a part of it and move forward from there.
So God assembled an amazing team, a team with similar concerns, similar passions, and this unified vision that demanded to see change in our community. So no longer were we going to sit back and allow Satan to have his way with people. We were going to create a place that attracted the lost, that attracted the broken, and attracted those that were disconnected from God. And we were going to focus on helping people position themselves to receive the life that God had promised them. There were a lot of things that we wanted to see, but the main things we wanted to see people reached for Jesus. We wanted people to receive freedom. We wanted people living the life that Jesus died to give them. And then we wanted to see people deployed into their world, deployed into their places of employment, deployed wherever it is that God was sending them to make a difference. So we met several times as a launch team. We put together the best plan that we could possibly put together, and then we prayed. We prayed for courage, and then we prayed for God's provision. And then we set a date for launch.
After several months of logistical preparation, fasting, and praying, the Gathering Place Church launched its public worship services on January the 16th, 2011 at Moody High School.
We had been preparing for this day for what seemed like forever. I was nervous, a little scared, but mostly I just felt anticipation. We had no idea how huge this thing was going to be.
So the day began with our team meeting for prayer and then setup. And I remember after setup, there was this 30 to 40 minute window of just waiting. We were just waiting for people to arrive. And so before the very first person arrived, I remember thinking for 30 to 40 minutes, what if nobody shows up? What are we going to do?
But they did come. On launch Sunday, over 200 people gathered for worship. It would prove to be God's confirmation of the vision He had given Pastor Matt and his team. The Gathering Place quickly grew beyond capacity at Moody High School. In hopes of finding a place to facilitate that quickly growing congregation, Pastor Matt encouraged the congregation to fast and pray about options.
We were at the Moody High School, and we had outgrown it, and Pastor Matt found a building, and he also encouraged us to go to that building and actually lay hands on that building and pray on that building. I want to tell you what, I've never done that before. I came from a church where, we just didn't do that. And that was, for me personally, I really had to step out of a box to do that. And we put our hands on that building. I could feel God moving at that time in my life, and it was powerful for just somebody that had never done that before.
Going and praying over that church, it was just that step back, and it was the realization that it wasn't in our power, it was in God's power. And when you gave it all to God, I think that was the excitement, the real excitement in it.
After months of remodeling, TGP moved to its Park Avenue campus in October of 2011. Now with a physical location, TGP began to create an identity in the community and began to attract many new families. The Park Avenue campus experienced rapid growth, making a second service a necessity.
So I remember calling my dad and saying, "You're not going to believe it, but we get to go to 2 services. We're full, and so now I get to preach twice in one day. How cool is that?" And I remember thinking during that season, I just told God, if we can get to 300 people, God, we can make such a huge impact in the community. And I just remember praying over and over and over, God, I'm believing you for 300 people for this local church.
But God had more in store for the TGP Faith family. Growth continued at a rapid pace. TGP doubled in size over a 6-month period. Over 200 people accepted Christ, and over 60% of the New Faith family members were previously unchurched. A third service was added to facilitate this growing faith family.
Because we were a young church with a lot of young families, we were nowhere near where we needed to be financially to be able to actually purchase a larger building. We needed to be creative, we needed to be conservative, and we needed a miracle, so we prayed.
And God again provided. In the heart of Moody was an abandoned 20,000 square foot grocery store. The space was perfect for TGP's needs. After negotiating lease terms, TGP renovated and launched its Common Grounds campus.
The purpose of Common Grounds was not only to provide extra space for our TGP family, but also to provide a service to the community. We wanted to provide a safe place for students and young families to gather. We wanted to provide a fun place for kids to play, and especially we wanted to provide a place for people that would never walk into a church to connect with God.
Common Grounds quickly flourished. Just like the Park Avenue campus, many people professed faith, many people were baptized, and a 4th service was added.
So this was now beginning to get real. We were adding our 4th service. I was preaching 4 times a Sunday, and honestly, I was loving every second of it. And I knew that we had to get serious about praying and seeking the Lord about a long-term solution.
We had some concerns about Pastor Matt's health. He's a young guy, and we know that he has a lot of energy, but 4 services is a lot to do on one day. And we knew that we had to be looking at the next step, and we knew God would provide, and he did.
After a season of praying and fasting, TGP received a call from the city asking if they would be interested in a 40-acre tract of property right in the heart of Moody near Interstate I-20.
So I received a phone call from the mayor of Moody, Joe Lee, and he said, "Hey, Pastor Matt, I think I found something that you guys at the Gathering Place might be interested in." And then he began to describe a 40-acre piece of property near the interstate, right in the heart of Moody. And as he began to describe this piece of property, my heart literally leapt for joy. I was so excited, but then immediately I began to doubt, and my next question was, okay, how much is this going to cost us? And when he told me, I was absolutely amazed at how good God is.
After announcing the news to the congregation, Pastor Matt prayed that the Gathering Place would consider capitalizing on this opportunity. The congregation responded with great enthusiasm and great sacrifice. In just 4 months, TGP raised the income for the property and paid cash.
I was surprised, but on the same hand, I wasn't surprised. And I wasn't surprised because I just know the heart of this church. The heart of this church is just so amazing. This church is full of people who understand how much God has done for them, and they're just willing to do whatever it takes to see God do it for others. It is the most selfless group of people that I have ever been associated with.
Now facing its biggest step of faith to date, God has led TGP to move forward in building its first ever home. To take the 40-acre property on a hill in Moody and build a house for the Lord. A house that will serve as a city on a hill, a beacon of light for all who seek light, a house that is full of love and generosity, and a house that will lead people to God and lead people to grow closer in their relationship with God. A house that will continue doing what is already being done.
When we walked into the gathering place, we immediately felt like everyone was very warm and very friendly. It was easy to connect, and we definitely felt the presence of God.
I think the turning point in me was the Freedom Conference this past year. Just being in a room full of men worshiping was just amazing to see what they could do in this world.
Yeah, I saw a spark in my husband that I don't think that I'd ever seen before. It made me realize that our marriage was about to get stronger, and it did. And then our mission changed a little bit, and we felt called into foster care.
God has used the gathering place to really encourage Emily and me that we should be doing more for His kingdom. He's used this church to call us into what I'd say is more active ministry. And He's called us into teaching, into leadership, and really just many opportunities to empower the people in this community.
Yeah, I feel that I've gotten trained to make disciples and to go out not only in Moody and surrounding areas of Birmingham and Alabama, but to go out into all the world and make disciples in Rwanda and India and all of the other countries that the Gathering Place funds their missions through.
This Ford initiative is a continuing response to a problem that is in our community and in the world. The problem is that there are people outside of these walls right now that are far from God. Our culture is quickly becoming a people who are hurting and desperately searching for relief from the bondage that they're living in. There has never been a greater need for local churches geared toward reaching these individuals. Churches that will show people how to know God relationally, how to find and live in freedom, how to discover their purpose, and how to live a fulfilled life. My ask of you is that you prayerfully consider partnering with God through this Ford initiative. This is a defining moment for our local church. We have an opportunity to see God change the landscape of kingdom advancement in our community and in the world. We invite you to join us on this journey by making a commitment of increased giving to this amazing opportunity. This is the most exciting thing that we have ever done, but it can also be one of the most powerful faith-building seasons of your life. It is when we stretch ourselves. It's when we step out in faith and trust God that He moves powerfully in our lives and draws us closer to Him. So let us all, as one big faith family, commit ourselves to God, commit ourselves to this community, commit ourselves to the next generation, and be radically changed as we together move forward.